Okay, you want to do your own accounts. Here are 5 things I want you to consider before going ahead. Number one, you must be organised and committed to do this. I know lots of people don't enjoy admin, they find it a chore, but you have to allocate time to do this. You've got to be organised. You can't leave it for 6 months and then think, I'll look at it. You've got to set aside time on a regular basis, whether you like it or not, to do this. Number two, I want you to have a separate bank account for your business transactions. Now, as a sole trader, this is not a necessity, but I always recommend it. It's much easier to track your business transactions if you have a separate bank account. It doesn't have to be a business bank account. You can use a personal account, but I want you to use it only for business transactions. The third thing I want you to consider when doing your own accounts, and we're not talking about using my favourite software like Xero, we're talking about using a different method. So what you need to decide is, are you going to use pen and paper, just track your transactions on a notepad, or are you going to do it electronically using a spreadsheet? A spreadsheet such as Google Sheets, Microsoft Office, or if you're a Mac user, you could use Numbers. Number four, you need to do your homework before you start. You need to do some research so you have an understanding of what you can claim for in your business. What are allowed as business expenses? There's no point in doing your own accounts if you don't have some knowledge of this. So where do you go to get this knowledge? Well, you could talk to an accountant. They could advise you in the first place. Or if you're in the UK, you could go on the HMRC website and you will be able to find out what are allowable business expenses. Apart from doing that, just have a sensible head on. If you start off with thinking that taxes are meant to be fair, then it'll get you towards realising what is allowable. So allowable expenses are genuine expenses that you need for your business. We often talk about the term wholly and exclusively. So if you spend money and it's wholly and exclusively for your business, you can be assured that that will be an allowable expense. But do your research, find out what is allowable for your business before you think about doing your own accounts. And the fifth thing I want you to consider, but you can decide on this at a later date, are you going to submit your own accounts to your local tax authority, or do you plan to get help to do this? Now, neither is the right answer. If you're confident, yes, you can go ahead and submit your own accounts. But if you would like them checked over, it still makes sense to do your own accounts and then at year end hand them over to a bookkeeper or an accountant to help you to get them submitted. You might want to do that in your first year, and then as your confidence grows, you can move to submitting your own accounts in later years. But even if you want to hand them over to a bookkeeper or an accountant at year end, it still makes a lot of sense to do your own accounts throughout the year. Then what you're handing over is much more straightforward for your accountant to deal with, and your accountant will be much happier than if you're the type of person that just throws everything into the carrier bag and hands it over at year end. So 5 things to consider. Let's recap. 1, you need to be organised and committed. 2, I want you to have a separate bank account. 3, decide the method you're going to use, pen and paper or an electronic spreadsheet. 4, do your research so you know what's allowable in your business. And 5, which can be at a later date, decide if you're going to submit your accounts by yourself or if you're going to get help to do it. That's what to consider before you think about doing your own accounts.